All right, man. So Bobby Portis says, I forget on the name of the podcast. I'm gonna see if I can find it. He ain't taking no discount anywhere. He looking to get paid. I think he just under $14 million player option. He opting out. And to remain on the team friendly discount in Milwaukee is crazy because they won't be competitive next year. So yeah, you see more than likely they won't be competitive next year. Giannis can be moving on. I understand that. He basically said he wants to get paid. And really, um, he's in a unique position because, that's a very important position in what he brings to a team. I remember he got suspended for PEDs last year. So, but he's one of those solid vets, one of those guys that do the dirty work, fringe starter, can defend, bring toughness, grit, shooting. But yeah, when I started talking about, his worth was probably close to about $15 million for 2 years from what I read, and that sounded about right, and that's what he's making right now. So somebody gonna break the bank and pay Bobby Portis all this money to come in, 20 million, 25 million. I know he looked at Tobias Harris and probably like, I'm as good as Tobias Harris, but I don't think he started like Tobias Harris. You know what I'm saying? I think, if you put him in, Tobias Harris' position, it might not be much drop off, but he's kind of been like that bench guy, that friend starter guy. So yeah, I wouldn't be mad at 2 years, $30 million for him. That's about right, But if it get into a bidding war, and I think, there's two types of teams that he can help. He can help a championship caliber team, which a lot of them don't tend to have that money like that. It'd have to be a via sign and trade, or he can help a young team, like the Charlotte Hornets or something like that. It could be a young team like the Charlotte Hornets. Damn. But yeah, it could be a young team like the Hornets, bring a veteran presence in there, bring a calmness in there, bring a workman-like attitude. As far as the Pistons, I mean, really, I think they're anticipating possibly moving on from Tobias Harris because any major trade they make, that contract probably got to be involved in there, and it's expiring, and they're probably looking at people to come in and fill that void. And the two guys they're looking at is Bobby Portis and Naz Reid, and two guys that hadn't been starting late, so they get an opportunity to play starter minutes, 30 minutes a game, right around there, give or take a few minutes. So yeah, I feel them. I mean, after a while, you won a championship, and now guess what you want to do? You want to fill those fucking pockets. You want to fill those fucking pockets for retirement. Especially when you miss 30 games, you miss 30 something, you missed a few paychecks. Yeah. Happy Juneteenth. But yeah, you want to pad those pockets. And I don't think anything is wrong with him, padding his pockets. Me, quite frankly, I don't. So, it still may be within the realm of the Pistons doing. I mean, a sign and trade make anything possible. In reality, you would like Ron Hollins to take the mantle, or Bobby Killiman to take the mantle from, Tobias Harris and be able to start. But both of them got to get bigger and stronger. And that Bobby Killiman guy, he got to play. He got to get healthy and play, at least get some practice time. And then when you start talking about, they got two police on dog. When you start talking about Ron Hollins, it's really just get stronger and hit that corner three. So right now, you're probably looking to sign Naz or Bobby Portis to a 2 or 3 year deal to allow that maturation process so they can take the baton from the next, power forward. I think that's kind of what you're thinking of. But, I like Portis a lot. Tough guy, gritty guy. Another enforcer like Isaiah Stewart. And I really don't have an issue with them ponying up some cash. I think when you start to get around $20 million, then I start to think it get tricky. I think it starts to get tricky, So yeah, we think impending deals are coming. They may or not come. That's what we thinking. Like, okay, they about to bust a move or they about to make a move. We might think that may happen, but in reality, that may not be the case. That may not be the case. They might stand pat and and go at it like that. Orlando. Everybody make a big deal of what Orlando did, and you know. But um, but yeah, I know a problem going out there and paying Bobby Portis about 15 for 2 years. I think that sounds right about his market value. But I think if you go to a bad team, he gonna want close to 20. I mean, in general, that's what he wants. But that's if you go into a bad team, you ain't about to win. You about to be a mentor and a teacher. You know. But definitely a critical piece. He can come off the bench. He can give you starting, and those people like that, they can come off the bench and they can just give you, and they can just come off the bench and just give it and give you some good minutes. Um, I mean, I like them. That's a skill. Some people got to warm up before they get in the game. For you to come off the bench cold and be productive, to me, that's a great trait to have. The Ginobili's, the Vinnie Johnson, the Lou Williams, the Jamal Crawford. You know how they sit on the bench for probably 20 real time minutes. You sit on the bench for 20 real time minutes, and then you got to come in and produce. That's no easy feat. That's no easy feat. So yeah, Bobby Portis, man, I like him a lot. Between him and Naz Reid, I think he may be a little bit bigger than Naz Reid, but what they both can do, really, you'd be happy with both of them. Nas might be a little younger, but should do for both of them. I like it, man. So, but yeah, I like both of them. But if I had to pick, probably go with Naz Reid. Especially you talking about an absolute starter. I want to see what he do as a starter, what he can do, coming in. So I think he want that opportunity. But hey, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and the subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase your chance to get notifications. We go live, we drop video. Hit the link tree. You can find me on X, back on Facebook. Other channels is there as well too. So appreciate y'all. One time for the one time Mercy Sports Talk. Peace.